And a pleasant good morning to you. It's time to go live from the sports betting capital of the world, Las Vegas. I'm Ramon Scott, and welcome to the morning steam for Wednesday, October 31st. Whoa! A night when sports fans around the country leave their homes so they don't get distracted during the games. Uh, just kidding, everybody. Enjoy your Halloween tonight. Hey, take it. We got some games. We got the World Series, but hey, if you got the little ones, you can go out, take your uh, phone with you, whatever you need to do. Enjoy the festivities tonight. And will it be for one of these teams a trick or a treat? The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers will meet tonight. Game four of the World Series. How about last night with the Rangers getting the victory, the three early runs, the great work from the bullpen? Had some twists and turns. Max leaving the game with an injury, but maybe his work is done here. I mean, we could use him again, but back injury didn't look good. And not only that, Adolis Garcia left the game as well, the biggest star so far in the Major League Baseball postseason with a back injury of his own. So, will Garcia be available? Will he be, uh, 100% tonight in game four? Rangers have the lead. They continue to win on the road. And World Series tonight, we'll preview it here in just a moment. We'll also talk a little NBA, three games on the card, two games in the NHL, and I'll start my coverage of college football with selections for you. Maybe we can do it in 90 minutes, I'm sure. But let's say hello to everyone as we get ready for today's show with the World Series as the featured game here. Let's say hi to those rolling in. Who do we have today here? We've got Ferner. He was here to open the doors, ready to be a winner. It sounds like he was up writing this motivational speech. That's what we need. After last night, what did you guys think about Monday Night Football with the Lions and the Raiders? Jimmy G, uh, not exactly accurate. Looks like the Raiders could have actually did some damage, right? If they could have connected on some of those passes last night, but no, not Jimmy G. He wasn't accurate enough, and the Lions, the better team, wins the game yesterday by enough to cover the spread. Certainly, 26-14 victory on Monday Night Football. So, what did you guys have in that one? Lions and under yesterday. We'll go over to Tony'sPicks.com here in just a moment and see how our crew did on Monday's action. We'll look at the handicapper leaderboard and see who did what as we get ready for the action today. All right. Hopefully, you guys okay. Got a few with me here. Blake also, and Thomas as well. And Ferner said he was up. Uh, he was up up 4 hours thinking up motivational phrases for us to get it going here. I could have used it yesterday. I did have some premium winners on the card, including Columbus and Dallas over. Hello to looks here today. And also, premium winner for me in the NBA as I had the Boston Celtics and Washington Wizards game to go over. But I could use some help today from you guys, so please get your plays ready as we get ready to preview today's games. Like I said, we'll preview 8 games from today, and then we'll also look at some college football. Let's go over to Tony'sPicks.com and see who the handicapper leaders were for yesterday. And Nick Vartini absolutely crushing on the card yesterday. 6-0 for Nick. He turns in a big day. He's the face of Platinum Cappers. Hollywood Sam, 78% here yesterday. Ron Crawford goes a perfect 4-0 yesterday. Good job, Ronnie Ben Ruhala. Uh, good day for Ben, 64%. Marlo Pettis, 67%. And the GM comes in with a 3-2 day as well. The profitable cappers yesterday at Tony's picks. Over the last 7 days, it's Chauncey Giles on top of the handicapper leaderboards with a 22-7 record, plus the 13 and three quarters units over the last 7 days. Hollywood Sam coming in 67%. He's up over 10 and a third units over the last 7 days. Eli Richards up 864 units. Ben Ruhala, he's up over seven and three quarters units. And Tony T, he's up six and a third units, 67% over the last 7 days. Tony continuing to get it done here. Over the last 30 days, it's Hollywood Sam. Absolutely crusher right here. Nearly 37 and three quarters units over the last 30 days for Hollywood Sam. He's one of the hottest in the industry. Check him out here at Tony'sPicks.com. Chauncey Giles, 67.5% over the last 30 days, over 17.5 units. Ben Ruhala, also 17.5 units. Joseph Schultz, 54% here over the last 30 days. And probably Sam Murdy's got you covered with your volume picks, and he's up six and a quarter units over the last month here at Tony'sPicks.com. All right, check us out and use the promo code TonyT to get 20% off all of our premium pick packages, including mine for today in the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and more. Check it out here at Tony'sPicks.com. 3 packs, 5 packs, 7 packs from our team of handicappers. Check out what everyone has locked and loaded for today's card here. You see Collins Brown is ready to roll with his plays for today, two in the NBA and one in college football. Best bets from the crew, including Tony T, Platinum Bella, Nick Lagaretos. He's ready to roll today in hockey and basketball as well. And Collins Brown has his best bet in Major League Baseball. $15 picks from the crew, including introductory offers. And Daniel Walasachuk has his today. All right. Check us out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Click on the All Cappers tab. There you can find the handicapper of your choice and get signed up. Just click on their handicapper profile page. You'll see their records there for previous picks. And, well, I'm at the bottom right now. Got to turn it around here today. So check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. You can pick up my 7-day pass. It'll get you all the way through to the end of the World Series, Major League Baseball. Also, NBA and college football this week. Check it out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT, and that'll save you 20%. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And here we go. Let's say hello to a few more people. And here's Fernando. Rangers came through, but he didn't have a great. Oh, we won't even harp on it then, Fernando. Ferner yesterday. We did have some good NBA picks, I thought, yesterday here on the show, especially, right? We were clicking on some of these, but let's see here. Yesterday, what we had Toronto, Portland, and Toronto under on the show. That was a winner. We had the Hawks winner. We had the Thunder on the show for a winner. And we also had Heat Bucks over. That one, did that win? I'm not sure actually on that one. I'm trying to go off my head here a little bit. And And the Lakers somehow got there. I believe most of the people end up getting the money there, but Lakers in that late game, getting it done. Interesting game there with Orlando last night. All right, breaking news. So let's get right to it here. If you didn't hear overnight, well, some breaking news in the NBA late last night. A trade announced. Maybe you've seen it here on some of the comments today, but it looks like James Harden will be on the move. The Clippers have finalized a deal to acquire James Harden and other players from Philly in a blockbuster deal. No doubt that'll send Harden to the contending Clippers. Philly, yeah, they're contenders too in the East, but the Clippers making a big move to acquire James Harden to go along with uh, Kawhi and Paul George and Russell Westbrook. There's a lot of something going on in the Clippers facility. I don't know if it's egos and money and rich people and all that, but the Clippers are making their move here with the acquiring of James Harden. So we'll see. Probably not in there tonight, certainly, but um, it will be something that will be talked about with the Clippers playing Orlando on that back to back in LA. So big news that it really just came down to late after the games. Certainly, I want to say that story broke midnight, 1 a.m. here in the felt like in the West Coast, and I don't know, did we see that coming? Did I miss it as far as what was talked about as far as potential suitors for Harden, or did we just think he was going to try to find fit back in at Philly? So that was the big news overnight that really just came down uh, after I went to bed. So that's what I woke up to. All right, doubles. Hello there, and Tan Blount. I believe I'm not. I'm actually. I've never, with all due respect, Tayon, I've not seen you here in the chat, but apparently you told everybody about the Nets money line. So I'm sorry that I missed your comments actually yesterday because I don't want to miss anybody new to the chat or a new viewer certainly. But Tayon apparently here told everybody about the Nets money line. Yeah, we were on the Hornets, so boy, I wish I would have seen that. Tayon, uh, let me know what's going on with that. The Nets crushed the Hornets yesterday, and that really has to leave the Hornets shaking their heads because I don't know if we saw that the steam came in on the Nets, but I don't know if I saw that coming. That the Nets were going to are the Nets. Are we missing something with the Nets here? Are they? Yes, earlier the whole chat was on the Nets. Everybody was on the Nets but me. But nonetheless, I guess you guys saw it coming. But absolute blowout yesterday. Ferner was liking the unders here. These guys are all over the Clippers uh, here yesterday. I got into it with some of the more prominent YouTube. They were. I didn't suggest. I don't want to think that player that injured the other man did anything wrong at all. I mean, I did not mean. I upset some people with my comments. Some very respected people here, as I said. That player was investigated. The police investigated the death. It didn't look like the man would try to slash the guy in the neck, right? To me, it looked like a leg whip that went awry from the dirtiest player in maybe the history of that English elite league. So I can understand people wanting to defend, because we don't want to see something awful like that, just terrible, and a poignant tribute by the Penguins for Johnson, who passed away on an on ice um, accident, no doubt. Even the player, I mean, you're not trying to injure, but you're trying to maybe stop someone, trip someone there, and your skate got high. That's all I'm saying. And that player was, the most penalized player in the league. Uh, so much so that he considered one of the dirtier players. So that's all I was suggesting, and they took offense to it, saying, "Get out of here with that! Don't be saying anything like that. That you think it was on purpose." And I don't think it was. They don't understand. They didn't understand. But I think the man the defensive player was trying a leg whip or a contact with the lower leg to slow someone. He was moving away from the play. So why, and there was another player that got mixed up in there. So, a hip check, whatever. It was an accident. But that player may have been doing something illegal in the game and it resulted in a terrible accident. So, okay. And let's see who else. Doubles says, have your candy ready, Ramon. Okay. What am I, what am I missing, Doubles? Like chocolate candy or like hard candy? Hello to Ramsey here today and Joey here as well. We're going to get ready to start with the previews, I guess. Unless you guys have anything else. We've got a short card here today, and we'll get right to it. And of course, like I said, we'll get to give some picks out on some college football. I'll get my college picks here started today. And there you see the matchups tonight. I see the card popping up. So let's get ready to go. We won't start with college football. We're starting with Major League Baseball. Game 4 of the World Series on Tuesday night in Phoenix with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. Andrew Haney goes for the Rangers, and it's a bullpen game here for the Diamondbacks. And you know what? Maybe that's good news because the Diamondbacks have a pretty good bullpen, and they'll be showing it off here in this one. The Rangers, they may end up having to go to their bullpen here as well, but you got to wonder to a certain extent how good their bullpen will be. They used up some of their arms a little bit, or they had more innings yesterday, if you will, with Max having to leave the game early. It was funny. They showed first Max had torn skin, almost remnants of a not necessarily a blister, but remnants of a pitcher maybe that hadn't been throwing as much of late and had not been able to, get his skin hardened, if you will. If you've ever I don't know, I will say pitched if you've had a manual labor job where you need your hands to blister up a little bit. You know how a pitcher is. You're shaking a pitcher's hand, and you develop certain uh, uh, calluses in order to grip the ball, but things like that. So first they showed Max with some skin hanging off of his. I thought it was his index finger a little bit, kind of where, or maybe it was his middle finger, maybe where you maybe spin the ball, maybe where you got to whatever, but it was his back actually that had him leaving the game. So the Rangers had to go into the bullpen early, but I'm more concerned with Adolis Garcia leaving the game for the Rangers, the biggest star so far in the postseason. Of course, Garcia was in the center of the controversy when he was hit by a pitch following his celebratory home run. And, there's two ways to look at that, certainly, especially with, let's say what it is, the Latin influence in the game. It's not bad. It's wonderful to have uh, the great ball players from all over the world, and especially representing, nations close to the United. We know, Dominican, all through the areas from, the Dominican, if you will, even the baseball playing countries of South America, whatever the case may be. It's everyone in this great game is welcome. The World Baseball Classic, teams from all over the world, whatever. It's all great. But we have to adapt to change. And if people want to celebrate like that, hey, just take your medicine. I don't think we should be getting upset about uh, you know, the celebrations of players trying to excite their crowds and whatnot. I guess if you want to take exception of it because you're insulted, that's your right. But maybe you should try to win I don't know. Anyways, I'm just talking about Garcia because he is missing uh, from the lineup yesterday as far as leaving the game, and we'll see tonight. But obviously, to me, Garcia just does stand out as a player that you're going to want to have or need to have in that Rangers lineup. He's been, I don't know, he's been the difference maker, I would think, for the Rangers here this postseason. They wouldn't be in this spot without him. Let's get your comments here as we start to maybe get the picks from you guys. And Doubles got his candy ready to go. So, like I said, I've always been one to kind of run and go to run and hide or turn out the lights. I don't want anybody bothering me to. I don't know, maybe because I've not had any kids in my life or whatever, but I just kind of stay away from Halloween. And they told me, in where I live in Vegas, no one comes. The houses are too big. The houses are too big. The kids don't come here. Too far to walk. Not that I'm in some, living in a mansion or anything, but the houses are too big on the block. The kids, you're not gonna. Bad strategy. Well, my neighborhood's a bad strategy for kids. You're not going to get enough coverage, enough houses. You're going to walk too far for the return on your time. Not enough candy in the bag. Ray Otachi's got the Mariners today. Let's see. I think I've got some Reese's here, some Reese's bats. We can get rolling here. Let me see. Oh, yes. Here you go. Welcome. Here you go, kiddies. There you go. If you show up, come on over. Rangers bullpen is not good. They've done the job, obviously. Here they're in the World Series. Los Serpientes to tie it up. Mark Lee said the Lightning was his downfall yesterday in the NHL hockey. I thought we did. Yep. Oh, yeah. Double said, you know what? Sometimes you have to do it for bowling. You had to prepare your skin a little bit. I thought hockey, we did hello to Howard. We did have some pretty decent picks in hockey yesterday. We had Flyers on the show. Probably maybe gave us a profitable day on the show. I don't know if you guys are keeping score, but we had Flyers run money. What is it called in hockey? The puck line? Flyers puck line winner, Panthers puck line winner, Ducks puck line winner yesterday on the show. Also, Rangers, Jets under was a winner on the show. And also, Blackhawks uh, puck line winner on the show and Canadians puck line winner. So we gave out a ton of puck lines and they really, really scored. And it wasn't laying the goal and a half either. It was taking the goal and a half. And the interesting results late night with Blackhawks and Coyotes. With the Coyotes, Connor Bedard scored, and it was 1-0 Coyotes. Final score 8-1, or 1-0 Blackhawks. Final scores 8-1 Coyotes in that big game. What was I saying? We had the Blackhawks. That was a loser. Everybody knows that. That was a big time loser. Well, I don't know what I was saying there. That was the most lopsided game of the season, 8-1 Coyotes. So remember we were talking about. I was like, oh man, these two teams are equal. That was a loser, but no doubt, Blackhawks. That's got to be a little bit of a concern here. And Canadians and the Knights. Canadians played the Knights pretty tough. Tied that game. Ended up losing in shootout. In case you were up late, weren't up late. Blake is going under here in the World Series. I don't know how we got on that hockey. That they're going to scold me for that. And oh boy, it's going to be cold out there in Chicago. All right, you guys. Anyways, so maybe we could talk a little bit about the a game in the match. It's tough, there's not a lot. I don't know if we can really do the BVP, right? Because we're only going to see the top of the lineup here. Maybe we can get around with Haney. A couple of times. I call it a bullpen game. Look, Andrew Haney can go as long as Andrew Haney can be effective. He's an established starter in the league. Is he durable to go long? Uh, not much BVP to go off of here with the Diamondbacks against Haney. Corey Seager's got a couple of hits and four trips. Nobody's had any extra base hits against Mantiply. But again, he'll just be in there for an inning or so. So facing the top of the lineup, Semyon, one hit and two plate appearances. Seager, two hits and four plate appearances. And Robbie Grossman has a hit in his only plate appearance. Garcia, uh, 0 for 1. I believe, in his only play. So not a lot necessarily to go off of there. As far as Rangers against, uh, uh, I'm sorry, the Diamondbacks against Haney, you do have Kettle Marte, who right now is on a historic hitting streak, really a record-setting postseason hitting streak right now. Kettle Marte, if the Diamondbacks were to come back and win, probably in line to be the MVP, but they're down 2-1, so that's not an issue. But Marte, certainly with his numbers, his two hits in seven trips against Andrew Haney, both home runs. So Marte with that long hitting streak right now, one of the most big. The I think I I could have checked. It's not an important stat necessarily. I think it's the longest hitting streak in postseason history right now for Marte. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Uh, Christian Walker, who we saw thrown out at the plate, ran through that stop sign. That was unfortunate. I thought they were showing the base coach, and it is a fine line. You're not going to say the base coach did a bad job. He actually did a perfect job, but it is tough making a split second decision like that as a runner. The base coach obviously did change his mind on the runner after maybe the runner had started his acceleration. And anybody who's played a little ball, I don't care, even if it's out there with uh, at least a softball team good enough to send a third base coach, or if you're on your third base side, someone standing out there, half the time you don't send a base coach. But hey, maybe you were a high school player, maybe even a college player, whatever. And you ran the bases, someone's sending in, they change their, it's tough to, you've made a decision, you're going to keep going. And I actually don't think there's anything wrong with him, running through that stop sign. I don't think he made a conscious decision like, whatever, coach, I know I got this. I think it was one where because he was waving him home and then changed at the last second, really, you sometimes in your own mind, if I stop, I'm going to be thrown out because my momentum has me way too far off the bag, what I feel like. So did I lose you there? All right. And let's see, under here for Londo as well. Blake said under. Howard's going Texas. Make the call, Ramon. What are you going to do with this one? I may have already shown your picks there. Let's see. Nobody else. Nobody else has any picks, so time to pull the trigger here. Maybe we can give a little bit of statistics on this one. I'm not too worried about the numbers for Haney and Mantiply. Like I said, we got a bullpen game. The Arizona Diamondbacks have been terrific in their bullpen. That's been the key to their success here in the postseason. And I'm going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks here in this one. I'm really concerned about Adolis Garcia. I think he is a huge, huge factor in this series. Not just his presence at the plate, but his effect on the rest of the lineup as well. Maybe he will be in there, but what really could his status be? Yesterday was a close game, 3-0 for most of the game, and then the run. But you're not going to pull a guy like Garcia out of the game unless he really cannot compete, cannot swing the bat. Can you really, a back injury, sleep on it, feel better tomorrow? I guess you could. Could you go back and hit a home run? You don't even need to swing real hard if you're a guy like Adolis Garcia to hit a home run. But let's say that this is going to be affecting him enough. Could you go up there and Kirk Gibson it, and hit a home run and get, yeah. But to me, leaving the game with a back injury, a big slugger like Garcia, who has been the biggest name, the biggest star of the postseason so far. I think is a big factor. Not necessarily placing this as the handicap, but I don't think there's been any reflection in the line for the absence. And maybe there, yes, there shouldn't be in a baseball game. It's just one player to a certain extent, and the price right now. Let's see, are we talking? I may even have the wrong favorite here. Actually, no. It looks like the Diamondbacks, and maybe it is the fact that you know that Garcia has found his way to the injured list right now, listed as questionable with that. I want to say I think it's actually a side or what they maybe they called it an oblique injury. That that doesn't sound good. So I'm going to take the Diamondbacks again here in this one. Uh, take Arizona. I'm taking Arizona with that great bullpen that they have. My guy wasn't in there last night. The two stars for the Diamondbacks in that bullpen. Seawald, Gankel not used last night. They'll get action here, and I like this one for Arizona tonight. All right. Good luck. Enjoy the game. We got some NBA action on Halloween with the Knicks taking on the Cavaliers here in this one. And, well, we saw the Knickerbockers here coming in against the Cavs so far. What have you thought of the Knicks so far this season? Both teams come in with a 1-2 record currently, but the Knicks have somehow found their way to earn favoritism here in this one. I didn't know the Knicks were so good as to be favored here against the Cavaliers. Well, I guess the Cavaliers, have a few issues, injury issues certainly coming into the game. So that's probably a little bit of the question here surrounding them. But are you guys really impressed with these Knicks? Too much right now. Both teams 1-2. The Knicks have a road victory so far this season, and well, Cleveland they're 0-2 so far. So, or well, 0-2 at home. They have, like I said, they do have a victory so far, but they didn't cover the spread in that game. Cleveland's 0-3. So I didn't know the Knicks had kind of turned it around and become better than the Cavaliers all of a sudden. Doesn't it doesn't quite. I'm not sure if I believe it. So let me check. Maybe I'm missing something with these injuries. Maybe you guys can help me out on it. Tell me if I know. We know Jared Allen's had some issues here to start the season, and that's kind of left Cleveland a little bit shorthanded, especially defensively, where the Cavaliers are, expected to be so good, and he'll be missing again. Garland is out. You got D. Mitch as a game time decision as well. So maybe these injuries are just piling up. We know Ricky Rubio's out. If even consider him to be a factor anymore on that, he is an active player, so he's in there taking minutes certainly. So no injuries really from the Knicks. It looks like they maybe are relatively healthy. So maybe that's it too. But Cavaliers are still going to possess a pretty strong defense here. I would think everybody except for Brunson probably would be, you know, under their numbers. But Blake says he likes it to go over here in this one. I would imagine a few guys on Cleveland have decent matchups to help that over. I would think Karis LeVert certainly can get over his averages, and even a guy like Struess can probably have a pretty good game. But I think one thing about the Knicks, they've got some defense, better defense, improving defense, if you will. We'll see. I mean, um, you know, uh, I guess defense comes and goes sometimes as far as when you want to play it. And I do, like I said, Blake says right there, over. Here's Ray on the Knicks. Ferner wants to go over as well. I mean, this one is kind of like one of the lower scoring totals, really, if you think about what we've been dealing with so far. And we got 214-ish here at this point. 214 and a half, 215, maybe even here at this point. And, well, I better make the call here. I'm taking Cleveland, you guys. I mean, unless I'm missing, yes, I'm missing something. Yeah, I'm missing probably some players right here from Cleveland, is what it feels like for me. But I'm going to take my chances with Levert and Struess, and I don't think the matchups are great for some of the front court for the Cavs, but it's not great for the Knicks either. I think when you got Mobley, Okoro can might be okay defensively too against a guy like Randall. So I'm not sure the Knicks can. Uh, I respect what you guys are saying about the over, but Fernando's going over too. He's leading to the Knicks. All right, man. Sounds like I'm not. And hey, look, I could use some NBA winners. It feels like I'm making the right call and then getting beat at the end. So let's take a look at the Cavs. I'm taking the Cavs. I'm taking points at home against a Knicks team that, okay, whatever happened, uh, I don't want to say it was not. It was. Hey, maybe there is something to this Knicks club, but to go on the road, what they score against New Orleans, 87 points in that game, getting 3.5 against the Pelicans a couple of nights ago, 3 nights ago. That's bad. Now they did have a win over the Hawks. That was their win on the road, 126 to 120. So third straight road game here for the Knicks on this trip. And they're a road favorite here at the Cavaliers. Yeah, the Cavaliers lost to the Pacers. They lost to OKC, two straight road losses right now. And like I said, they lost against, or they beat Brooklyn, but we're just 1.5 point favorites, so they are 0-3 against the spread. I'm taking the Cavs. I don't think the Cavs have fallen off the face of the earth. Okay, they got injuries here in this one. I get that. I still think the Cavs are. Uh, I thought they were a better team than the Knicks. Well, I mean, maybe in the power rankings they're close, whatever. I don't trust the Knicks right now to get anything done on the road as a favorite. Good job, Knicks. Made some nice games so far. Knicks 7-1 against the spread. Last 8 in the series definitely favors the Knicks series history here in this one. But I'm taking the Cavs, guys. The San Antonio Spurs going to take on the Phoenix Suns here on the road, and the Suns are favored by 17 and a half. 7.5? What? Didn't they see this San Antonio team last time out look absolutely awful? Look, maybe we could chalk it up to the Spurs still a work in progress with their rookie. Are they bringing him along slowly with the 20 minutes, or is he just, maybe not quite ready to handle a full workload right now? We know they can. Maybe the Spurs do a little things a little bit differently with Pop, but um, you gotta wonder. I mean, if Wemby, it's hard to make fun of the guy if you're not putting him in the game. But look, they're taking their time with him. Certainly, it feels like with Pop and all that. But geez, if you're gonna go out there and lose games by 40 points, what have you got to lose? Now they were playing the Clippers in that game. Look, they do have the win. They beat the Rockets in the battle of the worst teams in the West, so they did win that game. It was in overtime. And they came back a couple nights later and lost that first road game, that first true road game to the Clippers. So maybe the Spurs will be a little better off here. You'd think that against the Suns, they could have some success for Sohan and Johnson, I would think, and even Zach Collins here could, you know, have some success. But still, feels like the Suns or the Spurs are getting lessons out here to a certain extent. Here's Joey. His J is lit up like the sun's orange. And here's Fernando. He wants to go over. He's also going to lay the points with the Suns. So is Ferner. And Ray will do it in the first half. I want to say hello to Lex Steele. Want to say hello to Reginald Luker as well. Nice to see you guys. Where you been? I missed you. Thanks for stopping by. All right. And oh, so this one has definitely gone up. Was I saw as low as 6.5 here? I think any lower than that. Uh, some of the openers were as high as 8, but there were also 6.5. So I guess we're kind of right in the middle here at this point. You want to trust the Spurs to a certain extent, like. Um, they know what they're doing. So if they're going to get a 40-point loss, they can come back and hang in the next game against a Suns team that definitely has some injuries here. Beal is out. Booker, game time decision. And, well, you are a big favorite here for so Booker could rest again if he is needing it here, and Damian Lee also out. So there has been some injuries here uh, right now, at least for the Suns, but they still, you got a guy like Durant. The matchups are fine. The Spurs, yeah, Wembanyama, will he be a shot blocker? Maybe he'll be a defensive for one day. Put some more weight on, whatever. But right now, there's not really much of a defensive presence at all. Right now, I would think in this San Antonio lineup and be all systems go for me. I'll take the Suns to cover the number here at this point. I'm going to look to the Spurs. I think they'll be getting some value here soon. And it may be even starting tonight. Maybe this line is just a tad too high off that 40-point loss here. You want to think that the Spurs can start to put it together. We lost. We were on them last game, I think, against the Clippers, and got blown out in a free play. But I'm going to take the Suns here to get this money as a favorite. Yeah, I'd take some goofy dogs, but not today. I'm gonna roll the favorite in this one. I want to play the Spurs certainly in spots and think they can come around. But reported steam did come in on the under here in this one. Open as high as 232, and now we're seeing it down, in fact, to as low as 224.5. So definitely been a big move here to the under on that reported steam. And here's Ferner. He says, I've got the Clippers at -6 already. Oh, he's ready to go on the next game. Oh, jeez. Let me what am I doing? I'm messing up the video here on this pick, but make sure. And here's the thing, you guys don't forget. I appreciate you guys putting your plays in. I like to know what you have. I want to show everybody. I want to show the world, or at least our 4 or 5 dozen friends here. Or by the time it gets viewed, our show's still getting viewed a few hundred times. So your pick is getting viewed by a few hundred people probably. And each game, I even say that, even each game is broken up into pieces. So when you put your play in the chat and I flash it on the screen, hundreds of people are seeing what you had, and you are part of another video where I talk about the Spurs and the Suns, for example, and we have a video, and your picks get on there. So remember that. Not that I mean, it's not a big deal, but that's part of the feature of the show. All right, so we got the big news today with the Clippers. Now, we don't think James Harden is going to make the road trip to make sure he's in the lineup here tonight, but I don't know. He's probably got to be pretty excited to get out of Philadelphia if it was really that bad of a situation for him and get to the Clippers where he can hang out with the likes of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and the Clippers can all of a sudden say, hey, we already knew we were contenders in the Western Conference, but now we really can be thrown into the mix with the top teams in the West and put us right up there, certainly with the Denvers of the group. And I don't know, who else do you want to throw in there right now? The Warriors certainly can be a part of the group. I don't think you could put the Suns in there right now. I don't think you could put the Mavs in there. I don't think you could put the Lakers in there necessarily right now. So who could we be forgetting in the West? I don't think anybody, right? I'm not putting OKC. I'm not putting Dallas. I'm not putting New Orleans. I'm not putting Utah. None of those teams right now. You've got Denver. You got the not even Memphis, even if they're on top of the division right now. So the Clippers could be that number two team here in the West with the addition of James Harden now tonight against Orlando. Remember, uh, look, I think Orlando long term, this group can be really talented. Especially, I think they have the defensive wherewithal, but it just takes so long to develop everything, man. If you could turn the clock forward, I think Orlando, um, man, they just feel like they can be a team of the future, but it'll take time. They'll have to, and look, Bancaro, he's been bad. He's been not too good actually. So we want to talk him up and say what the potential superstar. So far this season, it's like well, you hope that he's just off to a slow start a little bit. That this isn't what we're gonna get because it hasn't looked too good actually here, but I don't know. For me in this one, if it's a Clippers game and uh, Kawhi's in, Zubac's game time decision here tonight. I'm probably going to end up on the under. I don't know if I can get away from this. What is the total right now? Two. Oh, yeah, that's not even the total on screen. I've already missed the boat. So I better just give it out as my free play. And I better update it to the worst possible line so that when you get to the window, if you like the game, maybe you like it the other way now. Look at this move. It was 221 and a half when I typed these things in, and I got up late today. I was like 8 game card. I've already, started my football work on, I start working on that, when I'm watching late NFL games. So I'm already, so I'm just like, well, uh, look at some of these basketball game, type them in 221. Now we're down to 217 and a half today. Big move here to the under. I'm going to take the under in this one. Like I said, I think Orlando is low key a very good defensive team. Now, unfortunately, uh, some of their games you're not going to get to, and maybe you see it the way I do, but some of their games you won't be able to see that because if their scoring is struggling, I mean that's going to affect you on both ends to a certain extent. I just think man for man, they have guys that can defend, and um, I don't know if it's even going to necessarily show up in the one loss column this year, but um, they got pieces. They're just young, and confidence is important too in this, right? And here's Joey. He's got to take the Clippers at home in this one. Down to 6.5, opened as high as 7.5. I'm showing a 6 even at circa. So the move here is definitely on Orlando today, you guys. So and Ferner says, "How about the Lakers last night? Heard that was a bad pick." Yeah, right, Ferner. Hey, look, a lot of times, you and I, we were on it, Ferner, right? Were we on it? I mean, I was on it. I'm just trying to see if what you're saying about it because if we were on it, right? Because I thought everybody was kind of on the Magic yesterday. Now, granted, there was. We were on the morning. We gave out the Lakers, and we knew that the Clippers were on a back to back. I was still saying, look, I think the Clippers, this thing's down to two or whatever. And then the news comes out that LeBron is going to be a game time decision. Well, I think we even knew that coming in. We talked about it last night. We didn't maybe say he would miss the game or whatever, but we acknowledged it. We said, look, the Lakers are playing overtime last night. You got the veteran. We don't know what's going to happen. Given the situation, I'm going to take the Lakers. Now, looking at the lineup, the line, yeah, they even went up to 3.5. So maybe some people got if they laid the four, even I saw four, so it could have got screwed that way. But looking at the way the game unfolded last night, right, Ferner, I'm the luckiest handicapper. Okay, I got lucky. I was on the Lakers, whatever. If we laid a small number, I mean, I was playing it in game late. I was like, I had a pick on the total over, and I had, uh, regret when the LeBron news was kind of coming out and all that. And even after he was ruled back in, I was feeling pretty bummed about what was going down. And, I had a premium loser in that one. It really never, it really never had a chance, even though it was on pace for maybe much of the game to get close to the number, but it just never felt like it was going to get there. It was not a great uh, vision on my part, if you will, handicap, whatever. So, all right, Jamal did say Clippers. Uh, Here's Ferner. He says, miss the boat, go over. He says, if you miss the boat on 4.5 points, this thing going over now. So ignore the move, ignore the sharps. He already liked it over. He thinks the sharps are wrong here on this one. It sounds like here, or he liked the original number. Ray says the Clippers. So yeah, Ferner and I were the ones. We were on the Lakers yesterday. We were the lucky ones, if you can call it that. So Clippers, massive injury report actually for the Clippers, but they still have Westbrook, they still have George, Kawhi there as well. So uh, Zubac's actually game time decision. Other guy, Norman Powell also game time decision. Terrence Mann, who I think he's listed. Let me see. I'll look at it because this injury report is long. But Terrence Mann uh, was kind of rumored to be that if the Clippers did make a deal, that he would be on the move. He's going to be out for tonight's game. So is Marcus Morris, also out for tonight's game. So definitely Batum game time decision, Bob Cove game time decision, Martin game time decision. So Clippers injuries here, no doubt. I mean, it is a lengthy list. I don't even know if they have enough players on the roster to fill this thing out. Amir Coffey probably will end up getting a start, maybe tonight, or lots of minutes in there. Um, uh, so I'll take the under in this one. I'm going to respect the move here in this one. That's a look at the NBA for tonight. All right, enjoy those games. Good card. And again, I think the talk will be mostly about Harden and the Clippers. So, I think it's a probably not a great move long term. I don't know for the Clippers because I view Harden as one of those players that is not a winner. Do I like him? Did I like him when he was, that 3 point when he was making those bombs and sometimes he never misses? But now, I don't know, his money, his ego, all that, hanging out at the clubs, going to, it's fine, it's your life. Go to Vegas the night before a game and then fly back. You're rich. I get all that. It can't be, Harden is not the type of player you want on your championship team. Entertaining player, fun, not a champion in my opinion. And if he wants to come on and debate it, come on the show, James, and we'll talk about your. I can't. I'm no champion. I'm a champion handicapper, but Yeah, bad news. Here's the thing: the West is weak, so someone's got to be challenging Denver, right? I don't. I think the West is weak. I mean, the Warriors they have things to prove if they're going to challenge. They all do. They all do. They all have things to prove. I would think in the West right now, in challenging Denver. The Clippers have made that move. Uh, to me, they they may have already been ahead of the Suns, if you will. Maybe they were ahead of the Warriors. I don't know, but the Warriors seem to also be not quite there anymore, right? Especially going up against Denver. So the Clippers, maybe they've made their move. Remember, they've got the true defender in Kawhi Leonard. No doubt, is still elite defensive player, and you're gonna need a player like that. So I think I'm putting the Clippers number two, and I'm gonna root for them. I'm gonna root for them. I'm gonna root for Harden. I'm gonna root for the Clippers. They used to have that San Diego name on the front of the jersey, so still a Clippers fan to a certain extent. Hello to Chad. All right, got a couple of games on the ice tonight. We're trying to make a car. Oh my gosh, you guys, my goalie. Good thing there's only two games. I don't need the goalie computer here tonight, you guys. What am I worried about? Um, okay, here I'll just plug it in. But the goalie computer ran out of power, but I don't think we need the goalie computer tonight. We'll check on the goalies here and see what we need. But there's only two games, and I think we got everything covered. So we'll just lock up Mr. Goalie Computer and talk about the Kings taking on the Maple Leafs here tonight. And it'll be probably Cam Talbot and Joseph Wall going at it here. And hey, just right as I was coming on the air here, you guys, let's check this line. And I'm talking about just moments before I went on the air here. I know I'm late every day, but I'm not sitting around going, "Hey, I want to make, my few dozen viewers all mad at me by going on." I'm just checking the late. I'm finalizing everything, and late steam came in. I didn't even have a chance to update the line, but the steam came in on the Maple Leafs just right before we went on the air. What's the line currently? Showing $1.50, $1.55 or so. So a little bit of increase here with the Maple Leafs at home against my Kings. And in this one, so hey, pretty happy the way things are going. The Kings still look pretty good. And Toronto, if anything, maybe we do still have some questions about their long term sustainability to be a contender in the East. And for the Kings, that's kind of the same case too. But the Kings have looked pretty good out of the gate, no doubt about it. And the Leafs, well, if you're the Leafs, you're still certainly expected to be a contentious team. They are the team coming in with the better record here at 5-2-1 thus far. The Kings 4-2. The Kings so far on the road though a perfect 3-0, and for Toronto here they have been doing. Uh, Back home, that's what back home after that 5-game road trip, that's what it was. They started the season off at home, went on a 5-game road trip, did win 3 of those games on the road. Here's Fernando wants to take the over, I think, in tonight's game with the Kings and the Leafs. And I've seen, little two-way action here from the Sharps, but man, Fernando might be right on here. He does take the Kings here in this one as well. But, I was leaning Kings. Certainly at first when I first saw this one kind of come out, but that steam here did uh, worry me a little bit just at. Uh, if anything is a better price. Spurner says, what does he say? I'm too slow. I'm looking at a 7 now. Let me take a look at that. You're not too slow. Uh, there are sevens for sure, Ferner out there. Let's see here. Oh, we're on a bad page, but um, yeah, I'm definitely seeing some sevens here as well right now. I'm showing DraftKings 7 under 35. So it does feel like Fernando said, over that 6.5, and you are having to lay some pretty serious juice. Fernando's not into that. He's not saying, "Hey, I'll just type in 6.5, and nobody has to know that it's minus $1.30," because we're not keeping tracks of units that way. We're just asking for your pick. So just teasing Fernando a little bit. Fernando and Gerardo and I, we're going to have a new soccer show one day soon, right, Fernando? I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's going to be epic. With three, I don't know. Maybe Fernando and Gerardo don't. I don't. Is there a rivalry there because of you guys being the two elite soccer YouTube chat room cappers? I think we should get Fernando and Gerardo on the air together. Here's Josh. Hello to Josh. So okay, I do want to try the Kings today. I don't know if you guys. I don't know if I can get off of my Kings here today. Let me take a look at this. Um, all right, I do want to take a look, see if there's any movement here with these, but yeah, I want the Kings. I'm taking my Kings here on the road. I'm gonna fade that steam today and take the Kings on the road. Take my Kings on the road against Toronto. Go my Kings. Talbot in there today, and I'm sure that will be the case. Um, Maybe I could touch on a few stats, but just with two games. Like I said, Kings on the road here. I'm totally impressed. I am surprised. I was surprised with the start. I was expecting a decent start from the Kings. I was expecting them maybe to surprise and overachieve here a little bit. Yeah, they lost against Vegas in that game. They still earned a point at home in that one. They won on the road at Arizona. They've also won road games so far at Winnipeg and Montreal. So a couple trips or a trip into Canada already. And I'll try the Kings today as my play. And Ron said, Lazzy Love here today, bringing you those smooth sounds. And yeah, Josh, the light card today. We're just about done. One more game here. Ron says, don't trust the Leafs on home ice. Wool is confirmed to be in goal today. And we just did see, actually, let me take a look. I think we just did get the word that Talbot is like, oh no, that was yesterday. So we don't have it confirmed yet, but Talbot likely to be in goal here. And for Wool here in this one, comes in with some, look, for the Leafs, 3-1 with a 1.32 goals against and a 96% save percentage. So pretty good numbers here so far for Joseph Wool as a starter here. And been doing well, no doubt about it. And it looks like, a situation where Toronto was looking for maybe that goalie, maybe Woll is going to be it. He's giving them a big shot here every night, but obviously facing the Kings, we know what they do. They score goals. So one of the best offenses going so far this season. The Kings here, you saw the over selection from Fernando. Chad, thank you for your picks there as well. Um, okay, one more here on the ice. It'll be the Nashville Predators taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Just with Soros and Thatcher Demko here in this one. Demko $1.30. Demko, uh, let's see. He had an issue in the last his last appearance. I don't know if it was an injury. Well, I'm not going to go into it right now. He's expected to be in goal for Vancouver, another team off to a good, surprising start. I'd characterize so far the season, right? You have the elite teams so far, right? This season, and the elite teams are doing very well, right? Boston, Colorado, uh, who out west is a very hot. Vegas, of course, on a very hot streak to start the season. So to me, it seems like those elite teams are elite, and the um, bottom teams are markedly improved. And I'm going to throw out that Chicago thing last night because, like I said, Chicago's also, done had some good performances. They'll get better, and they'll just. I mean, that was just a really tough loss last night, 8-1 to a bad team. But those bad Arizona's up, right? Arizona's up, Chicago's up. These bad teams, the Red Wings, right? They're improved. Montreal, uh, all these Anaheim, they're all really all the really bad teams have taken a big step. They're going to come back down to the pack, no doubt. But the bad teams have jumped up this year to get some early wins here. Nice surprises, no doubt. Elite teams staying elite, bad teams improving. Um, the the middle bottom, they're falling bad, and then the second tier is kind of like flattened out a little bit. So that's what I'm seeing so far here in the NHL season. Here's Vancouver at home. They're $1.30 here against Nashville. 7 of the last 8 meetings here in uh, Vancouver between these two teams have gone over in this series for Vancouver so far. They're coming off a loss, an overtime loss, where they did earn a point against the Rangers at home. Before that, they beat St. Louis 5-0. The impressive part so far for the Canucks is the fact that they've had all this success. Despite playing most of their games on the road so far, 5 of their 8 games have been on the road. So to me, that's just very, very impressive. One of the best, maybe the most overlooked of these teams so far that are off to great starts. And I think they'll be in a good position to win here tonight. Let's see what that price is. $1.30 there listed on screen right now. Well, definitely up to. Let me at least put the worst price up there. Maybe we're even looking at $1.40 here in this one. And well, just saying something. I mean, Nashville's had a certain level of success of late, and Vancouver hasn't had much success of late. And here's Ron, under here, probably in this one. And I think that's the way I've got to look at this game as well. Would be Jamal's on the Canucks here in this one. So I would think with Demko, Sarge here, yeah, I probably would take a look at the under. It's already 6 under 2025, right? Let's see here. Oh gosh, I'm showing one offshore book all the way to 6 under 30 already with this matchup. And, take a look at so far with Demko. He's got a 93.5% save percentage, a 3-2 record. And for Sarah, she's got a 91.5 save percentage. He's been in every game so far. One of the games he didn't finish, I think Lankinen came in, but Sarish has been probably the most used goalie. He's going to need a day off eventually here because, boy, he's been in there. I don't know. I think every period, but just a couple of periods so far this season. Here's Ferner wants to go under. Let me see. I might have to update the line on the screen here a little bit, or we'll just leave it as such. I'm okay with it. I'm just going to take Vancouver Here, minus $1.40. Vancouver won the meetings. Let's see, they won last year's meeting 3-2 uh, on the road. All right. Huh. That was what am I saying? The last year's not last year's meeting. These teams played last year was uh, Vancouver won both meetings um, uh, at home. I can't even see this thing. Sorry about that. Okay, they played just a week ago. It was 3-2. Vancouver got the win at Nashville. There we go. And then last year, Vancouver won at home 4-3. All three games went to a shootout last season between these two teams. And then the game last week was 3-2 Vancouver on the road. Here's Ferner with the Canucks. Yeah, Ferner, that total does look like it's going moving to the under. All right, you guys, that's a look at today. Well, uh, let me take that back. That's not a look at all of today's action. We've got college football to take a look at, but we'll also preview some games from Saturday. But let's get into college football for today as we're in the Maction. Halloween, you got Maction. Have some fun tonight. Let's take a look at these games here for this evening with what do we got? The Buffalo Bulls are going to be on the road taking on those Toledo Rockets, and Toledo is favored in this. Holy Toledo, they're favored here in this one. Uh, Note the time change. In fact, I'm going backwards. I've started the video now. Too late. This is actually the later game on the card. Let's just call it that. This one's a time change to 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So sorry about that. Didn't mean to catch you off guard here. Let me bring the football notes in here on this one with Buffalo and Toledo. This one opened as low as um, 50, opened as low as 14, and now we're up to 15, maybe even 15 and a half at some spots at this point with Toledo here. I even saw 16 and a half at one point before some buyback came in. And here's Thomas already ready to go. And he says, "Give me Toledo here in this one." Daryl's all, hey, Daryl, nice to see you today. He likes the over in the Maction Halloween college football. Or, oh, it's a question, actually. Says, like the over in Mac Action Halloween college football games? Or it could be kind of a question statement type of thing, like, I like them, Ramon. I like the over. Do you like the over? And man, I do. I do, Daryl. Let's take the over as our play with Buffalo and Toledo in this one. And Mike, what does that mean, Mike? You lost the last one? You lost the last game? And did you hedge or anything? I mean, oh man. A plus 10,000 on how much? Like $20 or $100 or 500? Well, let me know. That's just, man, hope you got something out of that. I'd feel terrible not capitalizing on, missing out on all that money. All right. Anyways, for Buffalo, they come in with a 3-5 record, 3-1 in the MAC. This is a big game. This is a big game, no doubt about it. They come in Buffalo 3-1. Toledo's 4-0. So 7-1 overall, but 4-0 in the MAC. They've won those games. Some of them were close, but they've been getting it done. They have wins by 2, by 4, by 7, and by 18 points in conference. And the only game they've lost are on that 6-game winning streak right now. They lost to Big Ten, Illinois by just 2 points, 30-28. Toledo's done such a terrific job so far this season. They're averaging 225 yards on the ground so far this season. They've got a good quarterback. Um, yeah, they're often, favored by too many. I mean, this Toledo's been the team, right, or one of the best teams in the MAC for years. So a lot of times they are totally um, overvalued. They're also crazily enough crazily enough, they are 12 and 25 against the spread coming off of a victory. And we mentioned their record so far this season, 7-1, right? Great record for Toledo, 7-1 straight up. Very impressive. Like I said, only loss was to Illinois. Okay, look, Illinois is not, but this is the MAC team, and Illinois actually went. I think we could agree that Illinois has been okay for Illinois, right? Not worse than any of the recent Illinois teams, if anything, just a tiny bit better or average from what they are. So Toledo has a 7-1 record, but uh, absolutely a dreadful coming off of a win. 12 and 25 against the spread in their last 37 games off of a win over the last 5 years. I mean, that's how many games they win, right? I mean, you know, uh, constantly 7, 8 wins from this Toledo team, if you will, if not more. Sometimes bet one of the best teams in the MAC, but they just don't play well in the role of coming off of a victory, and they've already struggled this season in that role as well. Usually, just favored by too many points. So Buffalo has won the last 3 meetings, and we talked about the over a little bit. Uh, Look, uh, last 3 meetings against um, Toledo, Buffalo averages. Let's see. Let me just. Well, I was going to just read. I'll just read them all. They scored 34, the 31, 49, 34. So uh, you know, 36 points a game they're averaging in the last 3 meetings against Toledo. So over is coming in 5 of the last 7 meetings. And I'll go over in the. I'm sorry, you guys. You guys are typing. Said Ramon, you have it wrong. And look, I'm going over. It's not an alternate line. It's just a typo. It's 50.5. And let me fix that. Thank you, Ron, for that great stat. Let me show that. Let me get it right too. I'm going to go over, and you know what I'll do is I'll make it. There's a 51 out there, so I'll give myself the hardest line to beat. I think you guys could find a 50 out there, even at this point, at one particular book that I'm showing. Mostly 50.5 right now, and there's a 51 out there as well. I'm going over with Buffalo and Toledo tonight. Do I got this right? I want to make sure I got the line right. I think I screwed up because of that. Maybe entering in the wrong order there. Ron said, Toledo average. They're winning at home by just 8 points. So this is probably too many points against a Buffalo team. Yeah, and right. I mean, for Buffalo, we didn't really talk too much about them. I mean, they're still Buffalo. Sure, they're 3-5, but we mentioned the records. They're 3-5, but they're 3-1 in the MAC so far this season. They've won 3 out of their last 4 after an uncharacteristic 0-4 start for Buffalo, and uh, they did lose to Fordham, which was of concern. But Buffalo. Um, they've gone under in 4 straight, but this coach 3-0 as a road dog so far this year for Buffalo. All right, Jamal is going to go over with me as well. Thanks, you guys. All right, enjoy this game. Let's talk about the other game in the MAC. Hey, if you're going to have some action, don't put the games on just a half an hour apart. Play one that 6 o'clock, and then play one at 9 or 8 o'clock. Come on. That's all right. We'll find there's not a lot on. We'll get it on every TV. Northern Illinois and Central Michigan. We already saw someone with a go Huskies. Who was it? Double said, let's go, NIU. Let's go in there against Central Michigan today and have a good game. Oh, is there a line? Why is there no line on this game? What is wrong with the producer of the show? We know there's a line here with Northern Illinois on the favorite on the road. If anything, they've been a runaway favorite to a certain extent. I'm showing it one book now. We're all the way up to 6.5 even with the Huskies. There's 5.5s out there. There's mostly sixes out there, but I'm showing one offshore book at 6.5 already, with it juiced up a little bit to the underdog, but still, nonetheless, looks like the move is on the road favorite here. Opened as low as -2, actually. When we were on that circa preview show, we talked about it mostly a general opener of 3, went up to as high as 4 when we were on the air, and finished it, uh, you know, now 6.5. So just a pretty big move here for Northern Illinois on the road. For those Huskies, they are 3-1 in conference play, 4-4 overall. They've won 3 straight games, so things are looking good here in conference, especially with the Huskies defense. They're allowing just what, maybe 13.3, I want to say, points per game over those 3 victories, and a +6 turnover margin in those 3 games too. That doesn't hurt. For NAU, they did win at Boston College. That was a good win, certainly. BC for a MAC team, and they also won at Akron. And for Central Michigan, they come in with a 2-2 record in the MAC, 4-4 overall. They've played some very close games, and they've been good in close games. You see the spread here, -6.5. Well, in games decided by 7 points or less, Central Michigan has been very good this season. In fact, their record is 4-1 in games decided by 7 points or less. But uh, Central Michigan, their big problem is the opposite of what Northern Illinois does. They turn the ball over way too many times. They're already -6 this season in the turnover department. Uh, basically point 0.075 turnovers per game, and that's been a problem going back to last year a little bit. So, one thing they are pretty good though. So ever since McElwain's come in here, 4-0 against the spread as a home dog uh, for uh, McElwain at Central Michigan. So they've won 7 of the last 9 meetings as well, has Central. And Northern Illinois just 2-6 in their last 8 trips here to play the making myself laugh here. Let me say it again. Let me start it over and say it the way I want to say it. Central Michigan, or let's see, Central Michigan 6-2 are the. Okay, let me try. Northern Illinois, the last 8 trips to meet the Chips, 2-6 against the spread. That's making myself laugh at stupid things. Uh, Last 6 trips in to face the Chips, they're 2-6 against the spread. So um, MAC home underdogs so far this season. There've already been a few home underdogs, 3-7 in conference in MAC play. I don't know if I'm too worried about it here. I don't know. I'm gonna go over. I got another over for us. I'm going over tonight. All that talk, and I'm gonna go over. Yeah, 3. Only 3 of the last 10 meetings have gone over here. But is that 46? Is that? Oh, it is correct, huh? Okay. I see a 45 out there, but 46 for the I see even a 46 and a half. Let me put that up there. Make sure we give you the worst line. And I'll take over Northern Illinois and Central Michigan. And that is a look at our sports action for today. Thank you for your comments as well in the chat. JPZ, nice to see you. Uh, Doubles wants over as well. And Doubles says it might be raining, it might be snowing. Look out. Thomas Lewis on the Huskies. Jamal wants to go over in this one. And thank you, you guys. Good job. All right. Get our fireworks in for the day, and we'll get moving. Thanks, Ray. Good to see you. And if anybody wants my uh, other college picks, just stay tuned, or you can watch the videos later, of course. And Tony's already started his coverage. He's already cranked out about 20 games or more so far on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Don't forget programming later today. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, with midday plays. It's Mindy Hahn and Tiffany Mance joining you here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel with more live programming. Don't forget also our newest show, Tony T, brings you uh, more information midday. I think we're shooting maybe for 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Right now, it looks like for a new show with Tony, brought to you by the Rhythm app, and he goes over basically the plays through the Rhythm app that you can use the Rhythm app to kind of work on some of your analytics. He covers that. I'll get more info and describe it better, but it's one of his sponsors. So I'll let him handle that. And then at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, it's the Big Dogs crew and Tony T with the drive through. All right, more college football now for this week. I'm going to start with Saturday, noon Eastern, big noon kickoffs. The Wisconsin Badgers going to be on the road here, taking on the Indiana Hoosiers. And I'm already seeing a little bit of movement here on the total this morning. 45 and a half, the current total here, leaning to the over in this one. We're just seeing this one sneak up here just a little bit this morning for Wisconsin on the road here. A 9.5 point favorite. This one opened higher for sure, opened as high as 11, I believe, when we were on that circa preview show on Sunday, and it's gone all the way down here to 9.5. Total open 42 and a half, and like I said, man, up to 45 and a half already here. Let's investigate here a little bit on the show as we take a look at the action for Saturday in the Big Ten. All right, Wisconsin on the road right now, 2-1 road record. They're 5-3. 5-3 overall for IU. They're 2-6. It's been a big disappointment, certainly, right now. 12 of the last 15 meetings between these two teams have gone over the total, and that's where we've seen the move, certainly this week. But why, for me, I guess, is what I would say. Are we seeing a move to the total over? Uh, I'm not sure I would I'm not sure I'm understanding, unless it's gonna be just too easy for Wisconsin here on the road, but I don't know if uh, that doesn't feel like the right position or strategy necessarily here in this one. I would think it might be a little bit too high at this point. Now, I know the sharps are probably gonna be on the over here in this one. I've already seen steam on the over. Now, I don't always equate steam, um, to the sharp move. To me, I'm more interested in seeing maybe a little bit of reverse line, and again, but we've seen that as well because this thing has been as low. I mentioned 42 and a half, but it kind of went back to 43 and a half a little bit. Ferner said, "Who's scoring? Too high. Who's scoring?" That's what I think. That's what I feel like. Now, I know Ferner's joking to a certain extent, and we put emphasis on some of the sayings. I mean, when we say who's scoring, right? Maybe it, but 38 points, 40 points, that seems more realistic for me in a matchup like this. I don't care about maybe the series history here in this one or something like that. But um, let's see what the series is. Last year was last meeting. These two teams haven't been meeting actually very frequently right now. In fact, this is the first meeting in 3 years. So I don't even know what's worth looking at. IU won 14-6 in the last meeting 3 years ago. Thanks, Ron. Hopefully you're still there. Appreciate you. See you later. Verner says he's got this one in the 35s. Do I need to even uh, uh, break it down necessarily here after seeing Verner's pick? Well, we can talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to go under here with Verner, under 45, 45. And let me put it down to 45. Let me try to at least, you know, because there is 45s mostly, but there's 45s and a halves out there if you're going to go with me. um, I don't know if it'll continue to go up necessarily. Wisconsin coming off the just a 24-10 loss against Ohio State. We were looking at whiskey in that one, and before that they beat Illinois 25-21 on the road. Got the money there, and they've also covered at Purdue this season. Did lose. Remember that opener to Washington, that game at Washington State? Not an opener, but they lost at Washington State. But 2-0 so far with covers on the Big Ten road for Wisconsin. For IU, they've lost four straight now, three on the road. They did lose at home to Rutgers 31-14. Now, they did cover last week against Penn State. We did take Indiana, so they did come up with a pretty big effort there. And the move has definitely been on Indiana here. Like I said, it opened as high as 11, down to 9.5. So maybe because of that little improvement, maybe we could look to Indiana, but I'll take the under in this one. Yep. And Daryl said, when you don't have Mordecai in there, they'll go to the running game. I mean, Locke has been uh, fine so far. Just one interception for Locke, but he doesn't have quite the downfield acumen right now, anyway, that Mordecai possesses. So they've definitely having to change there a little bit. That also could be part of the move, I think. Daryl's right on there. All right, more Big Ten action and maybe some common opponent here a little bit. We can talk about or intertwine it here with undefeated Ohio State going in to take on Rutgers. And well, the move's been on Rutgers. There's no doubt about that. This one opened as high as minus 20 when we were on that preview show with the opening lines. And no matter how you look at it, this move has been on Rutgers. Taking the three touchdowns on the road. That's the way it looks to me. Total here opened 44 and a half. It's now down to 42 and a half. And that's another move that I can totally respect and kind of get behind. It feels like to me with a move to the under here with Ohio State and Rutgers. Um, this one opened at circa, let's see, 44 and a half. I think that was actually the DraftKings number that we had quoted. I thought the circa number may have been 43, but whatever the case may be, it seems like market wide right now we are going down here in this one. For Ohio State, they've covered 6 of the last 9 meetings between these two. I think that might be all their meetings, uh, in the Big Ten so far. Ohio State, obviously, we mentioned that they are 8-0, but just 4-4 against the spread, and most notably, I would think 1-7 to the under so far this season. Rutgers is 4-4, but Ohio State, uh, hey, defense travels. We know what Ohio State's been up to this season. I mean, they just, like I said, they did not cover that game at Wisconsin by a hook, no doubt. I mean, it was close. Maybe some people did get the money, but they won that one 24-10, giving up just 10 points. They gave up just 12 points, did Ohio State, uh, to Penn State. Here, I got to they gave up 12 points to Penn State. They gave up just 7 points to Purdue, 17 to Maryland, 14 to Notre Dame, 10 to Western Kentucky, 7 to Youngstown, 3 to IU. You get the picture. This one's going under. Ohio State, if they win or get close, I mean, how are they going to even get this game even close to an over? I would think this one's going under here in this one, and that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to take the under. Ohio State can win in the under for Ferner. All right, I got a few breaking news here on some steam. Maybe you heard it in the background. So let's turn off the college football lines and talk about a few pieces of information here real quick. Some breaking news. Now, one game I did not preview here just because it's a blowout of a line, and we'll let Tony handle those with all due respect here. Look, those are actually the toughest to handicap, so know you want some picks there, and we got you covered here on the channel, but I'm not going to bore you with a 5-touchdown spread. But I will tell you this: Connecticut and Tennessee, just because Tony gave out his pick, and I'm not going to tease too much on his videos. I want you to watch them, but he did give out the over in the Connecticut Tennessee game, and I want to just mention right now that total is on the move. It's taking steam right now. Connecticut and Tennessee was at 53, but now it's at 54 or even higher. It opened 55.5, and it's been moving up. Tony gave out the over on his picks show yesterday, I think it was, when he previewed that one, and we're seeing that one on the move. Also, big news, breaking news right now. More importantly, I would think at this point for this show is that the World Series, the total is going to be on the move here. Under is the move. Look, we've already come on the show today and talked about the game. You guys were just asking about it there in the chat. Did you preview the game? And we talked about it. I gave out Arizona, but right now there is a move on the under in the World Series. So check that out. If you're interested in the under, now would be the time. We could be seeing this one go to 9 over. We've already seen one very sharp offshore book move that total from 9.5 under to 9 over. So it looks like a move on the under here. That could indicate Adelise Garcia maybe not playing in this game, maybe his status, because like I said, I think that his status is important. Okay, let's get back to one other move also that was several minutes ago. I didn't mention because we were talking about football, but now that we've taken just a quick break, a move on the total in the Knicks Cavs game. That one had gone up here to 214.5 at a lot of places. Total steam came in, Knicks and Cavs. All right, resuming our college football coverage now with the Nebraska Cornhuskers going to be on the road against Sparty. And well, what's the big news at Michigan State? Well, right now it's Urban Meyer. Could Urban Meyer be headed to East Lansing to be the next coach of Sparty? Well, that's something that'll have to be debated in the offseason. But right now, when you're sitting there at 2-6, Michigan State going to be looking to make, after what's gone on this season, a disaster of a season in Nebraska coming in here 5-3. Look out, Husker Nation. here. This one's been on the move a little bit. I think it was as high as 4, though. So we've had to see some action on Michigan State here. It opened as low as -2 and went up to as high as -4. Let me make sure of that. Um, I did see an opener of 4 at Bovada, and they've moved down here to 3 as well. It's 3 pretty much everywhere. And look at that total, 34 and a half. The highest I saw it was 35 and a half. So not too much of a move, but definitely a move to the under here between Nebraska and Michigan State. These two teams haven't met for a couple of years. They met back in 2021. Michigan State won at home here 23-20. And look, Nebraska, I believe they got their, after all, what's went on here. I believe they got their man in Matt Rule. Um, I I'm still think he's, coach could coach in the NFL, whatever. This is if you got the coaching job at Nebraska and you can look, get this team to a bowl here. They could get their 6th win here in this one. This one's going to be tough. I mean, I'm not so sure I want any part of Nebraska in this game, and probably I'm going to be on Michigan State. But I'd be worried about Nebraska. They did win at Illinois 20-7, but they lost at Colorado, of course. Were blown out. They did lose at Minnesota. They did get the money in that one, but they've played 5 of their last 6 games at home. They've been very cozy, very comfortable. And while Michigan State has not been terrific, they're on a big time losing streak right now. This to me is going to be the spot. I'm going to be on Michigan State here, probably on the money line to get the victory here. They've lost 6 in a row. They just lost at Minnesota by 15 points. Of course, they were blown out by Michigan. They lost at Rutgers, but did get the money in that one. They also got a push at Iowa, but at home now. They got blown out by Maryland at home. They got blown out by Washington at home, but I'm going to come in with them here and take these points. And Ferner says Nebraska is awful. They kind of are, but they are 5-3, Ferner. So, is everybody under them awful? They've played an easy schedule, in your opinion? Maybe it's these 3 straight victories: Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue. They also beat Northern Illinois. They beat Louisiana Tech. So this is good for Nebraska right now. Believe me. Um, and I don't want to say complacent. Rule is he still kind of figuring out what's going on at Nebraska? Maybe. And Michigan State in need of something here because it's been certainly a rough situation with the Spartans this year, given everything that's gone on with the program this year, last year. The athletic department in general has been a mess. The Arkansas Razorbacks going to take on the Florida Gators here in this one. College football action. This one's for Saturday for Arkansas here on the road. Just a 2-6 record at this point. They are winless on the road so far this season. And Florida going to be favored at home -6. Yeah, mostly 6s across the board right now, and the total definitely 48.5 or 49 at this point. This has been a real tough game for Arkansas actually over the last decade or so. They are just 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 meetings against the Gators. We saw this game open up here mostly at 6. It did go down to 5, but I think we're seeing mostly sixes and 5.5s currently. Total open 52.5, and it's been bet down to 48.5 here right now. So, uh, Florida 9-3-1 to the under in their last 13 games as a favorite. But Arkansas has been pretty much just the opposite. They've gone over in 7 of their last 11, dating back to last season. For Florida, they're off the loss to Georgia. They lost that one by 23 points. We were on the dogs in that one, the Bulldogs in that one. And Florida did win at South Carolina in a wild one. Before that, they also clobbered Vandy. They lost at UK. They have a home win over Tennessee as well. For Arkansas, they've lost now 6 in a row, and things are spiraling here a little bit out of control for the Hogs. They're coming off the loss to Mississippi State, where they could just manage 3 points in a 7-3 loss in that one. So currently, I would think, man, I want to try to find a spot to take Arkansas to compete here. It's interesting that the line to me is only 6. Um, you know, Mertz, I know everybody's down on Mertz, but 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this season. Uh, I don't know. I want to take the points. I don't trust Florida to get a number. That's just all there is to it. Especially, look, I don't know if the game feels like the moves on the under, feels like I do respect the move to the under at this point. I'm not sure I'm going to get involved with the total just yet. I'm going to take Arkansas here plus the points. Um, they lost to Alabama on the road by just 3 points. They were getting 19. They lost to Ole Miss on the road, getting 13 points. They lost by 7. We know Ole Miss is having a tremendous season as well. So maybe a little bit of a tough schedule for Arkansas. They've lost to, I mean, look at this stretch of games. They lost to LSU. Well, they lost to BYU as a favorite, no excuse. Uh, After that, they lost at LSU, lost to A&M, lost at Ole Miss, lost at Alabama, and then against Mississippi State, should have won that one, or should have. They didn't play well at all. I'll take Arkansas. We're staying in the SEC with Texas A&M and Ole Miss in this one, and Ole Miss is a favorite at home right now by 3 points, huh? This one's kind of been all over the place. It's currently 3, and when we were on the preview show, the opening line show on Sunday, um, I want to say it opened up as high as 5. Yeah, we saw it open 4 or 5. I think it opened 5 at Circa, 4 at DraftKings. I saw an early number of 1, but that was maybe before we knew, or not before we knew, but Mississippi continues to keep rolling right now. We just mentioned their great streak here currently, and um, they're having a great season, Ole Miss, and they're a 3 point favorite here. Feels, I don't know, feels like maybe Ole Miss, but um, I'm not sure yet about the side. I'm more interested, I think, in the total here at 54. Now, I want to say some steam came in here just about a half an hour ago on this game on the under. So went from 54 and a half down to 54. It opened 57 now. Now with this one, we did see a little bit more of a move here. off of that opener of 57.5 at Circa. Now everyone else pretty much opened up 54, but I don't know. I thought that early number was kind of uh, was pretty good actually. I'm going to end up on the over in this game. I mean, it's Ole Miss to me that's having the great season right now with their incredible record 7-1 5-0 at home. Yeah, A&M is 5-3, but they're 1-2 on the road here. Seven of the last 8 meetings between these two teams have gone under, but this is different. I think with Ole Miss this season, they're averaging nearly 39 points a game with Dart, 2,000 yards passing so far this season, 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And for A&M, I think they've had a pretty good, you know, quarterbacking situation this season as well, with Max and with Weigman in there. They have over 2,100 yards passing as well so far combined. So I'm going to take the over with these two teams, um, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. You look at last game, Ole Miss, they put up 33 points in the win over Vandy. They did get the money in that one. They also covered at Auburn as a 6.5 point favorite. They won by 7. So they're playing games really close to their spreads. They beat LSU at home. Remember that game had 104 points there. And A&M, they've done a nice job. They scored 30 points at home against South Carolina last week. They did not cover, probably finished under their team total in that one as well. But, they played tougher teams, losing to Tennessee and Alabama. When they played Arkansas, they scored 34 points on the road, got the money there in a pretty outstanding performance. They also clubbed Auburn at home, scoring 27. So also, one other game in particular that to note was against Miami on the road, and that one finished with 81 points in a 48-33 loss for A&M at Miami, but 80 points scored in that one. So both these teams have had a couple of games where they've really put up a massive number. I'll take the over here, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Kansas State at Texas. Here, Big 12, actually, last I checked, Texas isn't in the SEC just yet. And a good thing, too, because here they're going to be favored by just 4 points right now. Wow, what an interesting move here for Kansas State. Look, this one had a look ahead as high as 8. Now, when it opened on Sunday, yeah, it was mostly maybe 6.5 here, maybe even as low as down to 5. But now we're all the way down to a 4 in this game for Texas against K State. Yeah, we know that K State's got a pretty nice club, no doubt about it, and they've done a nice job this season. But you're still dealing with a Texas team with pretty high aspirations as well. With their 7-1 record, they got to think they're breathing here as we wait tonight. Don't forget tonight we're going to get the top 4. I think it comes out at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. I was asking yesterday when it was. Hello to Jason. Nice to see you today. Jace, good to see you. And here's Texas at home for Ferner. So for me, though, Texas, they're coming off the convincing win over BYU. And, BYU's like, is this what life is going to be like in the Big 12? Well, maybe not. Texas is leaving, and BYU lost 35-6 in that game. Texas beat Houston 31-24. They were a 3-touchdown favorite or more in that game. They also lost to OU at home as a similar favorite to this, a very similar favorite. The spread was 4, and Oklahoma won that game. So, in a game that featured 64 points, you look at some of these conference games for Texas. 55 in the Houston game, 54 in the KU game. So, Here we're dealing with a total of 51 now. Kansas State. I think the one reason why the line might be moving now. These games, maybe not the best opponents, but not terrible either. They beat the last two opponents, Houston and TCU, by a combined 82-3. Hey, percent betters here today. Nice to see you, percent better. Nice. He's got the first quarter to go over 10. He's got the first half to go over 25, and I will cap it by going over in the full game. Me and percent better. We're going to roll through this game, and I'll take this one to go over. Look, it says 51 on screen. I might have to update it. No, I'm showing it down to 50 and a half is in some places. So if anything, that line is okay. We'll take over. If percent better has the first quarter over and percent better has the first half over, I will finish the job and say it goes. Now, I hope percent better isn't like, thinking there's going to be a big turn in the second half, but I'll take the over for the full game. And thanks to percent better for making me feel confident in that. This one opened as high as 54 and a half, now down to 51 or even 50 and a half we're seeing here at this point. I'll take over. So I'm going to fade the move. I'm going to fade the sharps here on this one. Don't accuse me of always chasing the steam like some people do. All right, ACC action here with the uh, two best teams, I guess. I mean, Duke struggled obviously, so Notre Dame and Clemson. This is a big deal here with Notre Dame coming in with their 7-2 record. Clemson, I say best in the ACC. I mean, I'm still kind of holding on to the glory days a little bit with Dabo. Look, they'll figure it out. I feel like they'll figure it out. I don't feel like Clemson's going to be dropping off the face of the earth. They just, maybe these coaches are a little hard headed. Why Sweeney would say, "Hey, we're not interested in players coming in the transfer," it doesn't make any sense. Um, all these are student athletes looking for a place to, play their sports and maybe make a little money nowadays and all that. Um, why wouldn't you be interested in players coming out of the transfer portal? Makes no sense. So Clemson will figure it out. They'll start to be more open minded as far as that is concerned, and things will work out in the end. But right now, it's not working out, and Clemson's been overrated all year. Not only is Clemson just 4-4 in conference, but they're 2-6 ATS. So hasn't been great for sure. Notre Dame, they've just been dominating ever since coming into the ACC. They've just destroyed it. So far, Notre Dame now 11-1 in their last 12 conference games against the spread as they continue to just rough up the competition here in conference play. So why wouldn't they come in and handle another opponent here in Clemson that I don't know. The offense is pretty anemic. We know that. They scored just 17 points on the road last week against NC State. They were favored in that game by 10 points, and they lost that game outright. They also lost at Miami 28-20 as a 6.5 point favorite. So why they continue to be favored in any of these games? They were favored by 3 touchdowns against Wake. Okay, they should be favored against Wake, but they only won by 5 points. Now they did win at Syracuse 31-14, but that was as Syracuse was kind of starting a little bit of a tailspin. They lost at Florida State 31-24. For Notre Dame, coming off a dominating victory over Pitt. Uh, Pitt wasn't ready to fly on that one, but still impressive for Notre Dame, a 3 touchdown favorite. They absolutely crushed in that game. They also, of course, before that, beat up on their traditional rival USC at home. So they do have a road loss at Louisville, but we know what's been going on with Louisville this season, so no problem there. They also won at Duke. That was a pretty good win, even though we know Duke has been, lost their didn't have their quarterback or whatever, but also played that Ohio State game remember. So no problem. This one's going under. I mean, come on. How is this one ever going to be into the 40s? I would think in this one. I'm not into it at all. I want the under here with Notre Dame and Clemson. I would think this game's going to be played in the. I would think closer to 38 points. Felt like that game. Who was talking earlier about? Oh, this one will be 38. Here's Ferner on Notre Dame. Mike's on Notre Dame, and Ferner says, "You know what? I'll lay a few extra points here and get a little plus money on Notre Dame. They win and cover every ACC game, and when Clemson will make the turn, when they'll turn the corner. I don't know if it'll be this year, but they're going to have to be a little bit more open minded. If everybody else is doing it, you should do it too. You're Clemson. No need to be left behind thinking you can attract 4-year student athletes because you know what? If your 4-year student athlete isn't finding his way to the starting lineup, whether he's good enough or not, uh, he'd probably transfer out. So, what are you going to do? Just keep bringing in young players that are going to transfer out when they can't start? Everyone, you got to play the same game as everybody else, Clemson. All right, Georgia Tech and Virginia, not a necessarily great game on paper, but definitely one worth talking about. You got to be proud for Virginia, proud of Virginia, what they've done this season, considering the tragedy last year that really left the program shaken, the campus shaken, and uh, you know the team coming into the season with a lot of you know bummer here. Yeah, they're 2-6, but boy, just seeing the way they played last week, it just felt real good, and it feels to me like Virginia is, making strides. So they won that game against Carolina 46-42 as a 12-point dog at home. Remember, they've won 2 of 3 now, including a win at Miami. So I think Virginia, safe to say, feels like to me they have made some big time strides here towards the middle of the season and getting better. And I expect from here Virginia to improve this year, next year. I think it's on the way up. It's already reflected, I think, in the line here this week. They're favored by 1.5 or 2 points. In fact, I saw it as high as 3, but there's been some buyback here on Georgia Tech. Total feels way too high for me at 54.5. Let's make sure. Is that thing moved in the last no 54.5? Now when we were on the opening line show at Circa, this game opened up as low as 49.5, and when I saw that I was actually okay with it at that point. Now I wasn't processing. I'm talking about when I got off the air. I wasn't processing it necessarily when I was on the show, but the fact that it's up to 54.5 right now has definitely caught my attention. Now, these teams have been going over all season, no doubt about it. But I don't know if against one another, if that's going to necessarily result in the case, even though, I mean, Georgia Tech, they've gone over in 7 of their last 9 games dating back to last season. Let's see here. And for Virginia, they've gone 9-2-1 to the over, or I'm sorry, 6-2-1 to the over in their last 9 games overall. Virginia scored 26 in the loss to Miami last week, but that was a cover. They also scored 31 in the win at North Carolina. But I feel like this game, to me, feels like a different type of game when playing each other here. And at 54.5, I'm going to end up on the under in this one. And let me see if I have a comparable game here for Georgia Tech. When they played at Wake Forest as a 3.5 point favorite, the final score was 30-16. That had a total of 59.5. Wake Forest was favored in that game, but it went well under by 15 and a half, 16 and a half points or so, 16 points, and ended up 30 to 16. So I'm going to end up on the under here in this one with Georgia Tech and Virginia. But I've got the up arrow, I think, on the Cavaliers moving forward. Whether or not that'll equate to this week, I'm not sure. All right. Defense, anybody? Arizona State's going to take on Utah, and boy, Arizona State has just done a terrific job. Utah's done pretty well too. Where they maybe had some clunkers that maybe we were expecting a little bit better, but ASU's done a nice job defensively of late as well, and they're kind of attracting a lot of attention for their play of late. They come in with just a 2-6 record right now, and they are 0-2 on the road. But given what happened in that last game, I thought everyone was pretty shocked, pleased, surprised with the way Arizona State played in that last contest. So they come on the road here against a Utah team that is 6-2, 4-1 at home, but they had a rough outing last time, of course. You're losing that game to Oregon 35-6, and really just fell flat in a game that they, were going to expected to use that defense to compete against the Ducks, and it did not happen. Of course, they won at USC and they beat Cal before that, so they had lots of momentum coming in, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out in that big game. But here, favored now by 11 points in this one, and yeah, mostly 11. Look, DraftKings opened this game as high as -15. Now, most of the openers came lower, mostly around 12 or so. So maybe we've seen only a point and a half move in favor of ASU. And it really because ASU is coming off the 38-27 season-changing win over Washington State. They were going through a massive dry spell. They had lost 6 straight games. They only had scored 7 points the week prior against Washington. But they'd actually look at the teams they were playing. It was a little bit of a tough schedule for ASU, and for them, look, they had losses to I mentioned Washington. They lost 15-7. Colorado, they lost 27-24. That was a push. That was at home. They lost at Cal, but they were a big dog. They got the money. They were getting 5 touchdowns from USC, and they got the money. So Arizona State, tough schedule. They've covered some numbers certainly this season. You look at 2-6 record, but 4-3-1 against the spread. In fact, some people will report to be 5-1 there. These teams are combined 4-12 to the under this season. And we'll mention right here because percent better where it says, where do you get your trend data? And are you just talking about those type of trends? Where, like I just said, for example, Utah, they're 6-2 to the under in their last 8 games overall, and Arizona State, they're also 6-2 to the under. Well, I just mentioned both teams are combined 4-12 to the under. So there's a few different places, percent better that I like to use. I like to. I use Don Best. I subscribe to that, and they have like a little database you can kind of call up. But I think if I can say some of the site, maybe Covers has pretty good trend data when you go to their matchups page. They're also Splash Blog does a pretty interesting job with Tom Cunningham, and they're starting to get things going. They got a nice little trend sheet. What else do you guys like? Let me see what other sites. So the VSIN site, I like using the VSIN site they kind of list the trends there as well. So I don't know. Trends are they seem to be on a lot of different sites, but and I don't know if I really prefer one or the other, but because some sites do different type. I'm not really one to look at. Um, Let me turn let's just make the play and make comment on this real quick. We're almost done, so I'll get you out of here. Here, thank you. Percent better, yeah. Let me make the pick here, and I'm going to add a little bit more information to that um, in this one because I do want to. I do want there's. I hope I don't forget here what I'm trying to say because I want to get the pick out on this game, and then give you some more. Okay, you like the data there it covers, yeah. No, it is. It's definitely okay. So let me see here. Arizona State and Utah. I lost my place here a little bit. Um, as far as my play is concerned. Okay, here we go. All right, I am taking the points with ASU in this one. The move's been on ASU. I'm not going to give it out as a premium, but I'm pretty happy and impressed with what ASU has done. Not sure about Utah to uh, maybe blow anybody out at this point. They're the better team, no doubt. ASU's played a tough schedule. I'm going to trust that Utah does not get the money here, laying the points at home. Earlier this season, they laid 4 touchdowns to Weber. They didn't get it done. They did get that money against Cal. We'll see. I'm going to take ASU. So, okay, let's turn this off here. We got one more game to go, and it's a special one. So, just talk real quick about those trends. So, I am more interested in short term trends when it comes to trends. When it comes to long term trends, I really just want mostly series history in college football to a certain extent. But you can go back 2, 3, 4, 5 years for things like home dog or certain roles. But one thing that I'm not necessarily interested in is mostly things like in football, like um, or other sport, day of the week type of thing. Those are a little bit different. Now, if it's really strong, there's certain something to be said because you can have a certain routine, and maybe this program or this basketball team or some just doesn't do well on Mondays for whatever reason. They're practicing. They don't know in the back of their mind. They don't follow trends, spread trends, or something like that. But I'm not too hip on like days of the week or ones that have multiple qualifiers that aren't necessarily data related, that are just more coincidence. Um, One of the shows that I follow, really good guys on there, but to talk about, hey, one team covers the spread every time the other team is playing. For example, I'm not interested in that. For example, they say, oh, uh, team A covers the spread 20 out of the last 21 times on the when they play on the same night as team B plays. No, that's just noise. It's just noise. They're not thinking in the back of their mind, boy, uh, our division opponent is in action again tonight, 2,000 miles away. We better win this game, that type of thing. So, um, that's the type of I like short term data. Look, mentioned this last game, the game we just were talking about, percent better. Both teams 2-6 to the under this season. Doesn't mean I'm going to go under necessarily in the game, but that is pretty. I think that's kind of relevant. 4-12 combined to the under. Look to see how the line's moving and everything like that. But I I'm I'm pretty big on trends. I think I'm more so big on trends than a lot of cappers. So, okay, thanks for that. Let's talk about one more big game today. Well, on Sunday, big game in terms of uh, the teams involved. A great matchup here for the Commander. One of the games involving the Commander in Chief trophy. You think of the Army Navy game, but it's Air Force. Sometimes has been winning this trophy. We think of the Army Navy game because of the pomp and circumstance in the last game of the year. And I love the Army Navy game. I absolutely make it a point to watch that game every year. I've ditched work to watch. I've never been. That's on the bucket list. If anybody wants to, and I don't know, maybe they'll bring it back out to the West Coast again. Uh, Army Navy. This is Army and Air Force. Here's the thing. Look at the total. It's 32. uh, Service Academy games continue on this massive run of unders. And, it's not just Army, Navy games, it is Air Force games as well when they are involved in the matchups with one another. This total has already dropped massively. Uh, I guess don't forget, don't bury the lead. Air Force does come into this game with an 8-0 record. Um, they do not have a shot uh, at the BCS. I mean, even if they went undefeated, I just don't see a path. Even if all the teams knocked each other out with one loss, I just don't see a path for Air Force to get into the BCS playoffs. But we'll see. We'll see what the polls say today and how far down they are. I mean, they certainly aren't going to be top 10 or anything like that just yet. 17 of the last 22 meetings between these teams have gone under. Air Force, also, let's see, Army, um, 20, let's see, 35, and well, they got a lot of transpoint to the under. That's all. Here's the thing: this season, these two teams are both 4-4 to the on the over under. But when the service academies meet for whatever we know the reason. They mostly run the ball. Time ticks away. They're very good strategically in these games. Defense is good. Defense better be good, right? We don't want bad defense with the military teams. That would be a bad long term strategy for the health of our country. So they better have good defenses. Anyways, Air Force comes in with an 8-0 record. Still, they are 5-3 against the spread. Army 2-6, 2-5 against the number right now. So this one will be played, whatever it's called now, Mile High Stadium. This is they're playing this one in an NFL stadium in the Broncos Stadium. Air Force, certain extent, is the home team here. Their games are in Colorado Springs, so there's a little bit of altitude adjustment for the West Point uh, uh, cadets to come in here and play this game. Now, this total opened mostly around 36. It did open as high as 37 and a half at some spots, and you got to get on it early. Everyone's going to move on this game under. I'm not going to give it out as a premium play here. I'm giving it out. I'm giving it out right here on the show, and I probably try to buy it up just a little bit. Um, 32, it's kind of a weird number to a certain extent. And I would think you'd have to at least get it to 34. And I don't know what's going to cost you. But you could just play it small, I guess, and still play it at 32. Like I said, all the numbers are good to me. I'm playing it under. And I would think Army and Air Force, look, this is talk about these thread the needle specials, right? You could figure this one out pretty pretty easy, I would think. What is the score of this one going to be? If you 24-6, is that right? 24-6, 24-7, right there. It can't get 25 is like one of the hardest numbers to achieve in football, even with one of these weird games, right? That's why I always say you got to be realistic in the scoring a little bit when you look at spreads. So 32, you divide it in half, 16. You add 9 points to each team, you've got 25-15. Or well, I mean that's still or that's not right. What am I talking about? 25. I said it right the first time. 16, 25 to 6, 24 to, I said 24-6, right? That's 30 points. 25 doesn't work. 25 is very hard to land on in a football score. So they're probably one of the hardest. So 24 points, that's pretty popular. 26 is hard to land on too. Um, so anyways, that's where the score is supposed to land: 24-6, 27-7, 27-6, 27-7, 24-7, just somewhere right along in there. So you're gonna have to make the decision on what you want to do. I'll just go under. So I guess if I'm going under, and well, I didn't necessarily have a play just yet on the game on the side, so maybe I just better hold off before I uh, spout off the wrong team here, but I think I know. Uh, I think I know where I'm going with the matchup for sure, and then we're gonna. I don't know what your preferred military method is, but I like to travel by air, and uh, that doesn't mean Air Force travels by air. We know how they travel, but in military terms. Anyways, I'll take the under here as my free play. I think all the values left. You could get 33 though out there for sure right now. I think there will be some people that still will say I don't care. Not everyone knows that all the military matchups go under at this. I mean, I guess everyone does know at this point. It bets feels like, but just been a massive run of unders for these you know military games. That's just the way it's been going, especially the Army Navy game. But right now, just a massive, massive streak. We know Army Navy's gone under in 16 consecutive games. But one thing about some of these games and the way they're going right now is that we think of the games, all these games in the games of going under, 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 and they keep going under, but the total keeps going lower too. And if you look at the final score in comparison to what the total was, there are plenty of games that go over. For example, um, while these games may be going under in the total, for example, there were several games where the totals were 37, 38, or something, and the games were landing 35. So it still goes under, but now that we're making these adjustments even further, for example, the total at 33 and 32, if there were 35, obviously it's going to go over. So all right, Ferner L. Thank you, Ferner, and thank you to your daughter as well. And is percent better? Is from? Does that say I am from? Does that mean I am from Annapolis? And maybe Ferner has an Air Force daughter, so that's great, you guys. Glad you have family serving uh, for us, and that will be great. A great game. Worth watching. It's not quite the same as Army Navy, but it's good. Thank you, you guys. That's all the games I'm going to cover here today on the show, on the morning's team. Head on over to Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Save 20% off all premium pick packages, including mine. Check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. Then click on the All Cappers tab, find the handicapper of your choice, and get signed up. Hey, don't forget about our props. I don't know if anybody's loaded tonight yet on any props. No one yet, but we've been featuring props here now on the show. Hey, take a look here also. This is the company that is working with us here, Rhythm, and they have introduced a new product, and Tony's will talk about it today. He's coming on the air every day to promote Rhythm, as they've entered in a partnership with Tony, and he'll be talking about the models and the app. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for me. Appreciate you here on the morning steam. Catch me tomorrow here, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.